It's time to turn to football now on the SportsMax zone. Another installment of a heavyweight European clash took place on Thursday. Barcelona and Manchester United faced off for the 14th time in European competitions. Let's see how the first leg of the Europa League round of 32 clash panned out.
So United get things started. Immediately looking for Weghorst, who'd taken up a position on the right to start. Some nice footwork from Varane. Now Bruno Fernandes, who has a look. Fred didn't arrive in time. Malacia managed to get around the challenge of Rafinha. That's Rashford now. Pulled back, and another chance for Malacia. It was Bruno Fernandes with the first swing at it. Might be opened up here, though. And there's Lewandowski getting in front of Shaw. And Lewandowski getting a sight of goal. Look at the way that Lewandowski powers past Luke Shaw. Perhaps that's a sign of a potential weakness. Pedri finds Jordi Alba again. Gavi takes over. Lovely ball. And a good try. Bruno Fernandes down the side for Wan-Bissaka, who's beaten Gavi and pulled it back. Sancho's shot deflected behind for a corner. Barcelona can't get away on the counter. It's one back and played through for Weghorst, and Weghorst is stopped from scoring by Ter Stegen. They just went to sleep, allowing Bruno Fernandes to play it into Weghorst. Sancho, Rashford has burst in. Good save again by Ter Stegen. Out to Araujo. And Shaw clears. For now, drilled back in. And De Gea flung himself. Wan-Bissaka. Araujo makes a mistake. And Sancho's unable to profit. Corner's flung in for Marcos Alonso. Marcos Alonso getting above Fred, who doesn't get off the floor. Squeezed into the corner. Played through towards Rashford. Rashford gets goal side and has squeezed it in for 1-1. But just like De Gea with the header at the other end, Ter Stegen is beaten at his near post. He won't like that. Rashford didn't even need to look. Jordi Alba plays long. And there's Rafinha going for it. What a good save. Well caught by De Gea. Lewandowski hurt by that challenge from Malacia. Rashford easily beats Rafinha. Has to go in, and has, for 2-1 Manchester United. Rafinha absolutely no match for him. All he's done there is put it into a good area. It's gone in off Koundé in the end for an own goal. Really unfortunate one. Taking on Koundé now. Taking on everybody with assistance from Wan-Bissaka. Fred has a go. Barcelona doing all they can to get level now. Rafinha, Lewandowski, they are level now. And look at this from Rafinha. It's wicked. Oh, a problem here. And De Gea has made the save. It will be a free kick. You can hear the groans around the ground. And Manchester United struggling now. How have they got that away? Sergio Roberto. Koundé's cross. It's going to come for Ansu Fati, and De Gea saves. Gavi sensed the slide of Weghorst. Ansu Fati gets away from Fred to shoot. So close to winning it. Ferran Torres. Good looking cross for Araujo. And that's going to be it. Maurizio Mariani is ready to blow for time. He's just given De Gea the hurry up. What a game. First half was excellent. Second half has been even better at the Camp Nou.
All right, our football expert, Brent Sancho, he joins us now. Brent, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mariah.
Well, if the Europa League ever needed an advert for, top-class football, what we saw today is so exciting. It had everything in the match.
Yeah, two teams that historically normally don't play on a Thursday. They joined the Europa League at this stage of the competition. Of course, the reintroduction after the World Cup and certainly brought the competition to life. It was a game of great quality. And you have to give a lot of credit to Manchester United. We've talked so many times in this program about how much they've fallen off to where they were before. And this is a true testament to Erik Ten Hag and what he's been able to do in terms of bringing them back and getting them closer to where they were in the past. And of course, Barcelona, they dropped off a bit over the last couple of years. And Xavi's also done a terrific job in bringing them. So both teams in terrific form, a great game of football. 2-2, I think, is a fair result.
Yeah, it was so good to watch the two teams battling toe-to-toe because, as you outlined, both teams had really, really rough patches and, they've come to life. You spoke about credit and, a lot of credit has to go to Manchester United's David De Gea. I know people would say, oh, Rashford was good, Casemiro was good, but David De Gea was so good for his team.
Yeah, he's having a stellar season and he's punctuated that today. With some of the fine saves that he's made. He certainly kept them in the game when you thought Barcelona were just putting their noses in front with the one or two chances. I still felt, Mariah, that Barcelona didn't have the kind of clear-cut opportunities their possession or statistical superiority would have shown in terms of shots on goals, in terms of possession. But again, when they did get the opportunity like the one that we just saw, David De Gea was there to make the save. And you have to give him credit. There's a guy that's a long-serving member of Manchester United, taken a lot of flack for some of the disappointing performances and seasons they would have had, and rightfully so. He's had some poor seasons and poor situations, but I think this season in particular, he has stood up and been counted, and he's been exceptional in goal.
Yeah, and I find the result is not a fair display of how Barcelona play. And I say that to mean that, Ansu Fati, there was a chance coming down to the end, Brent, where he could have taken that chance if it was in La Liga. But against a Manchester United team, it's as if there was some sort of nervousness. There were a couple other opportunities that some of the players, they failed to take them. And I felt as if, if they were playing against another team, they probably would have gotten it.
Yeah, I felt despite the fact that Barcelona would have possessed the ball for long periods, I still think in the final third, the quality that we've seen from Barcelona, particularly in La Liga in the final third, just wasn't there. They did have their chances, but when you look at the type of possession and the areas where they've had possession, I still felt they could have done a bit more. And you have to put that in the context, because when you look at what Manchester United did, playing on the counter, they had some very good chances as well to go ahead. I think if I'm Manchester United, Erik Ten Hag would be happier of the two managers going back to the second leg in Old Trafford. They would feel that they have a genuine chance. The threat that they have on the counter, of course, with that very much informed Rashford and the tenacity in the middle with Fred and Casemiro, they may feel that the balance more tilts towards their way going into the second leg. But again, it was a good performance. I think Barcelona let Manchester United off the hook a bit. They should have probably edged it in this tie, but they weren't able to do that.
Yeah, in fairness though, Brent, I could also say that Manchester United let Barcelona off the hook with some of the chances they missed in the first half and at the start of the second half as well. But I want you to comment on a couple of key moments in the match. And we start with the handball by Fred, which, of course, unsurprisingly, Xavi would have said definitely a handball, definitely a penalty. Your thoughts on this specific incident?
First of all, for me, he was too close. The ball was headed onto his chest and then his hand. And I think the player that had the ball, and I think it may have been Gavi, was a bit too close for my liking. Look at where he is. He's probably about 3 feet. That's too close. There's no reaction time in that. And normally, in those situations, a penalty is not given because the proximity of the player and where, of course, the reaction time that is needed certainly comes into play. And I think that there is too close. If you look at it from that angle, it may look like a handball. But when you look, when the player and where the player is, the Barcelona player is, compared to where Fred is, It's probably too close to my liking. It didn't give him enough time to move his hand.
And some individuals have suggested that the slight movement of the hand from Fred might have been enough to call it a handball.
No, I think his movement was really to chest the ball. And I think when you try to chest the ball, you open your body up to chest it. And I think what happened, when he chested, it slid off his chest. Like here, he opened the chest and it hit his hand. I don't think it's a handball. No, I did. When I first saw it, I didn't even think about it as a handball. And VAR obviously didn't feel that way as well. As I said, I go back to what I originally said. He's way too close to even try to attempt to give that as a handball.
Yeah, completely agree with you on that one. The other one is Marcus Rashford being taken down by Koundé. This, I think, was in the 86th minute. And there are some who feel that this one definitely a foul. Questions about whether it was inside or outside of the box. But your take?
Yeah, I felt so as well when I saw it, because if you look at Rashford's body position, he did very well. He was very, very clever in what he did. He put his body, look at him here, he steps over the ball and puts his body in front of the ball. Now that means he is between Koundé and the ball. So he's now in front of Koundé. And I think Koundé exerts a little bit of energy, about 6 or 9, half a dozen of the other. I've seen those given, but you're right. If it was to be given, it would have been outside the box. More than anything, it was very clumsy by Koundé, but it was extremely clever by Rashford to make sure that he got his body between the man and the ball.
Yeah, it was Erik Ten Hag who had earned a yellow card, Mariah, and not Koundé. So, yeah, that was that. 2-2, the final score heading to Old Trafford.
All right, well, let's take the results from the other games before we let Brent go. Okay, so they're getting that ready. But Brent, you know, Ricardo had a lot to say on the show yesterday about his Manchester United. And honestly, I was a bit nervous. You know, I felt as if Manchester United would have walked away. But good showing there from Barcelona.
Yeah, look, it was a good showing. I think Barcelona obviously were favourites. Obviously, looking at the other scores around the league on the day. But Barcelona was favourites coming into this one. So from a Manchester United perspective, it is an excellent result. There's no doubt about it. And I do feel going into Old Trafford, they would feel that they are the favourites to move ahead in this tie.
Yeah, well, let's take a look now at round 32, the first leg. All those results, as we told you, that draw between Barcelona and Manchester United. Then Red Bull Salzburg getting a 1-0 win over Roma. No goals in the match between Ajax and FC Union Berlin. A 2-1 win for Shakhtar Donetsk against Rennes. Bayer Leverkusen, they couldn't win that one. AS Monaco walking away with a 3-2 win over them. Then a 1-0 draw between Juventus and FC Nantes. Sevilla, a 3-0 win over PSV. And a 1-0 draw between Sporting and Midtjylland. Do we have Brent with us still?
No, I think we've lost Brent, yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh, Brent is still here. Well, thanks very much, Brent. Pleasure talking to you as usual. And for sure, we'll be chatting again. And I'm sure a lot more about Manchester United as well, because they have a number of big games coming up, including the second leg of this tie next Thursday.
No need to fear, Manchester United fans. You could start smiling again.
Oh, I'm smiling. I'm smiling. All right, Brent. Take care.
Take care, guys.
It's Mariah who isn't smiling. She doesn't like Manchester United doing well. I don't know why. Break time.
I'm fine.
Are you?
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.